for a couple of years now, we've done regular segments on UFOs because there is a lot of evidence that maybe there's something to this thing. And then in the space of the last month or two, we've been drowned with evidence. By the way, on Sunday, we learned, no big deal, that UFOs have been flying into restricted airspace off the coast of Virginia every day for years. We learned this Sunday night in 60 Minutes. One former Navy commander, David Fravor, said he witnessed a UFO flying over the Pacific Ocean in November of 2004.
And we saw this little white tic-tac looking object, and it's just kind of moving above the whitewater area.
As Dietrich circled above, Fravor went in for a closer look.
So he's sort of spiraling down? Yep. The tic-tac's still pointing north-south. It goes and just turns abruptly and starts mirroring me. So as I'm coming down, it starts coming up.
So it's mimicking your moves.
Yeah, it was aware we were there.
He said it was about the size of his F-18, with no markings, no wings, no exhaust plumes.
I'll see how close I can get. So I go like this, and it's climbing still. And when it gets right in front of me, it just disappears.
So we talked to David Fravor last night, and he told us something that was fascinating that we didn't know. So this happens. He sees a UFO very clearly while flying a military jet in 2004. But the military doesn't save the tape of the incident or any of the data on the ship. Why wouldn't you? It's clearly a security risk, but you ignore it? How many other UFOs have been ignored by the U.S. military? How many others have been hidden? Leslie Kean is one of the few people who might know the answer to that question. She's the author of UFOs, Generals, Pilots, and Government Officials Go on the Record. She joins us tonight. Leslie, thanks so much for coming on.
Hi, Tucker. It's great to be with you tonight.
This is baffling on a... Oh, well, I'm so glad that you're here. It's baffling on a bunch of different levels, but the most basic is this has happened a lot, not just a few times, but according to 60 Minutes on Sunday, every day for years. What has the military's response to this been?
It is amazing, and I didn't even know till last night that some of the data had been confiscated, or at least we don't know where it is. I mean, the military's response so far has been a lot better than it used to be, Tucker. I've been covering this story for 20 years, and you know that we're in a real sea change right now, where the military is acknowledging that these things are real. Of course, we have a ways to go, but we have a report that's coming up, and I think we're really moving forward in a really good way right now.
Any idea, this is kind of parenthetical, but I've been thinking about it all day, any idea why after 70 years of lying about it and covering this up, the military is dribbling out details like this? Is there some purpose? Is this part of a PR strategy of some kind, do you think?
I don't look at it that way. I don't think it's any kind of orchestrated, strategic move. I just think a number of circumstances happened to precipitate this, and the most important one being that Luis Elizondo resigned from his job at the Department of Defense and revealed the fact that he had been heading up a program there for 10 years. This program that was started off in 2007, with the help of Harry Reid, and nobody knew that there was a department within the Department of Defense, or a program within the Department of Defense studying UFOs until that moment. And that was a huge revelation. There were 3 videos that were released from the program, and it was just that's been a big change. And the military has been forced to acknowledge things that they wouldn't have had to admit before that.
Leaking got them moving. Lou Elizondo's on tomorrow night, by the way. I agree. I think he's a heroic figure in this story. Do you have any idea, you've covered it more than anybody, why generations of military officials felt the need to cover this up?
It's such a big and complex question, Tucker. I mean, the cover-up, if you want to call it a cover-up, it began in the 40s, 50s, 60s during the Cold War. So there was a lot of concern because we were dealing with Russians. They didn't want to have things get mixed up with all the issues of Russian aircraft and all the issues within the Cold War. I think there's been a concern about what to tell people when you can't explain something. There's something, operating with impunity that shows very advanced technology. What do you tell people about that when you can't stop it, when you can't explain it? And I think there's also just there's a stigma, Tucker, that you're well aware of. You've been one of the people battling this stigma where, it's just been considered for decades and decades to be something ridiculous. And people don't want to talk about something that's going to make them look ridiculous, and it might even damage their careers. So there's so many factors that have kept this under wraps. And we're really at an important time right now. I'm so happy to see it changing after all these years.
I am too. And it's important to tell the truth no matter what people think of it. as you well know.
And-
Leslie, thanks so
and
much
thank you for
coming
your
on today.
coverage of it.
Appreciate it.